Good morning. Good morning. As we are allowing people in, I want to thank everybody for getting up early on this Saturday morning, on this beautiful morning, and joining us today. I'm going to turn this program over to the illustrious, the beautiful Terry Stroud.
Thank you, Sorosele. Greetings and welcome everyone to the 2023 Entrepreneurship Expo presented by the Financial Fortitude Committee of the Washington, D.C. Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. The theme for today's Expo, which is the chapter's 6th since 2014, is Thriving in Business Post-COVID. My name, again, is Terry Stroud, and I'm very excited to be with you all today. Before we begin, I wanted to introduce my fellow members of the Financial Fortitude Committee. Our co-chairs are Terry Saleh, whom you just met, and Pastel Birch-Smith. Our members are Dewana Sang and Jada Moore, who are present, and Chantel Bivens and Tiffany Riddick, who have not arrived yet. Today's program focuses on one of the 10 components of Financial Fortitude, an economic development program initiative of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated that is designed to address all aspects of personal finance. Today, we're focusing on entrepreneurship. We are focusing on entrepreneurship in the time and aftermath of the COVID global pandemic, which was declared officially over on May 11th, 2023. Officially over. We know there are vestiges of it, and we're dealing with that still. Since March 2020, individuals and business owners have made tremendous adjustments in lifestyles and in business strategy in order to survive. Many businesses, large and small, shuttered during the last 4 years, while others saw and seized the opportunity to start new businesses or pivot to new business models with resounding success. Today, we're going to hear from several entrepreneurs who will share their stories about how their businesses fared and are faring in light of the pandemic. And so whether you are a seasoned entrepreneur who struggled through the pandemic, a new entrepreneur who started their business during the pandemic, a budding entrepreneur who is thinking of starting a business now that the pandemic is over, and you want information about how to govern your business in today's new normal, there is a message here for you from some real heavy hitters. We're going to be discussing tools, resources, and strategies that you can use to thrive in the post-COVID world, including those around marketing, social media, hiring and team building, business planning, and more. And so with that, I'm going to hand it over to my fellow committee member, Soror Jada Moore, who is newly launching her own entrepreneurial journey. And we're excited to talk to you all today. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies. Thank you, Terry. My name is Jada Moore. I am the CEO and founder of Fiercely Feminine Studios based in the Washington, D.C. area. And I have the pleasure of being your moderator today. We have 5 dynamic panelists for you, and I hope that you learn a lot because I'm sure they're going to have a lot of knowledge to impart with you. So today we have Tona Michelle of October Moon Branding. We have Dawn Folks of Ken Folks Design Solutions. We have Benita of Cure My Credit, Deanna Marie Lewis of District Legal Group, and Melissa Quick, the creative directress. And so at this time, I'm going to have each of the ladies give a brief introduction of themselves, just, because we got a lot of questions. So just briefly give us, please, your name, how long you've been in business, and who your business serves. And I'll start with Tona Michelle.
Good morning, ladies. Good morning. Happy Saturday. So as she stated, I'm Tona Michelle. I am the founder and creative director of October Moon Branding. I've been in the fashion and beauty industry for over 20 years. So I started out as a Murray Kay representative, went to beauty school, got licensed as a makeup artist, started my own brand of cosmetics, a few online clothing boutiques, been published in national and international fashion magazines. I'm on TV, often doing fashion segments or business segments. And in last year, actually, July of last year, I launched October Moon Branding because I saw a need to help my fellow girlies in the fashion and beauty and lifestyle industries with their branding and marketing. I noticed that when I would do pop-ups or talk to my fellow female entrepreneurs, that they struggle to get visibility for their brand, or to even create a brand, or to even know what a brand is. And so I started October Moon Branding to help those girls to gain visibility and stand out in their respective industries.
Awesome. Next up is going to be Dawn Folks.
Hi, I'm Dawn from Kinfolks Design Solutions. Really simply, I just love to create and I love to help others. I actually started wanting to help small businesses who could not afford quality graphics, but had a need for those. So my main focus is small businesses, those who are starting out in the brown and Black community. And I also have a clothing brand called Connected, which stands for Family Connecting Through Diversity, because we all have the power to create the greatness that we want for our lives. We just have to get out there and do it. And it starts with you.
Awesome. Bonita.
Hey, my name is Benita Grant, and I own Cure My Credit Scores, and we help clients get their credit scores to a 700 or greater in a short amount of time. 99% of my clients want to buy houses, so we help them through that process. I also flip houses. I'm sorry. Oh, I thought someone said something. I also flip houses, and I also do Airbnb, and I just love to work. So I just create businesses over and over and over again because I think it's amazing to help people. So that's my journey.
Okay, I can't wait to ask more about that. Next up is Deanna Maria Lewis.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be here this morning and uplifting and supporting my line sisters in our chapter. Again, my name is Deanna Maria Lewis. I'm the founding and managing attorney of District Legal Group, which began in 5 years ago as of October of this year. So we've been in business for approaching half a decade, which is pretty amazing because this was not really a venture that I really set out to do long term, but nonetheless, we do civil litigation. I have 4 attorneys at my law firm and of course support staff. We do labor and employment litigation, civil rights litigation, business law, business transactional law. So that means corporate reviews, corporate negotiations, corporate drafting for contracts, employer handbook drafting. We do appellate litigation, personal injury, family law, trying to think what else I didn't name, civil rights litigation if I didn't name that. And so we are what we'll be called a small boutique civil litigation law firm. I'm a DC native, 3rd generation Washingtonian. I've been practicing law. This is actually my 12th year as an attorney. And I've been at a small firm before, a mid-sized firm, a large firm. I've been an attorney for the federal government. I clerked at the DC Superior Court. So I think my trajectory in the legal community and profession has led me to where I am today. It's also led me to start District Legal Group and prepared me to do so. I'm also an elected official in the District of Columbia. I'm an at-large committee woman for the DC Democratic State Committee, which is the Democratic Party. I'm a former board member for the DC Board of Elections, where I served actually as the youngest appointee by the mayor and confirmed by the DC Council to serve as a board member for the DC BOE. And lastly, I'm a current board member for the Office of Employee Appeals Board, where I oversee administrative law judges' decisions who issue decisions that are either requested to be appealed or reviewed by our board by either a plaintiff or a complainant or a respondent agency. So that's just a little bit about me. Looking forward to sharing with you all more later.
Awesome. And last but not least, we have Melissa Quick.
Good morning, ladies. Good morning, everyone. I am Melissa Quick. I am completely honored to be a part of this impressive panel and to go after that. It's kind of short. I have been a marketing technology professional for over 20 years. I've been super blessed to marry my professional skills with things that I love to do. Mostly, I think my assignment is to help other people shine. If you have a business, I want you to be the best at what you are intending to do. I want you out there legally. I want you out there for a long time. I want that longevity for you. Lucky for me, COVID was a spin in the right direction professionally because small businesses actually started popping up and they wanted it. We finally realized it was time to be able to pull away from corporate America and actually try to do it on your own. And I got a chance to help several just skyrocket in their independent careers. That involved marketing, social media management, technology audits to make sure they were spending money correctly on their tech. Social media, of course, you know, there was booms of TikTok. Instagram changed all the filters, changed all the parameters, changed all the algorithms, and a lot of folks weren't really growing. So my job was to manage that tech side of myself and that marketing side of myself to show them how to navigate. And it worked out. I got several clients. I was able to leave my firm. And I've been out before several times, but this time is the one where I said I'm going to get 10 clients and leave this law firm and see how it goes. The benefit of the last firm that I was with, it's an intellectual property firm. So I got a chance to see the other side of the business. And I get to help my clients not make those tremendous mistakes, putting themselves in trouble. I'm completely a creative. I love event planning. So I get to do those pop-up parties. I get to do those release parties. My last client decided that she wanted to get into retreats. I'm now doing the experience management for retreats abroad. I just got back from Bali, hence my jet lag.
Nice.
I'll be going to Belize in a few months. So now my clients are venturing into the retreat space because I'm really, really showing them how to expand their money. Some clients that aren't really necessarily into retreats, affiliate marketing. We could be making money in our sleep. So I'm just trying to make sure we leverage the game out here from outside of the community.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So I think out of all the panelists, like Tona, even though you've been doing business for forever, I think you launched this particular business during the pandemic, correct?
Yes.
And tell me, like, what made you want to start during the pandemic?
Well, actually, I didn't even consider it being a pandemic. It was just something that was on my heart. So actually, I planned on starting this creative branding agency a year prior. So I, created the name, a little crappy little logo, and I, was set out to start it, but things didn't pan out. So I set it down, and like a year later, God just put it in my spirit to start it up. And it just happened to be the right time. Like everything just came into place. I'm more of the creative director, more of the person who, more business management, and development. And so I knew a little design, but not much. And so I was looking to find who could fill that part. And I spoke with a friend. I'll keep this short. I spoke with a friend in California because I know he does that. And shortly after we got off the phone, my stepsister popped in my head. I was like, yes. And so those of you who I'm sure you don't know, Dawn here is my stepsister, and she's my partner over here at October Moon Branding. So, I called, I texted her. I was like, hey, I need you. I was like, I'm starting this and I need you. And the rest I could say has been history, and it's been amazing. So the pandemic, I didn't even enter my mind. It was on my heart to do. And so I just went for it.
Awesome. Okay. And so the next question is for, I guess, the rest of the panelists who have, already had established their businesses prior to. So I know for me, the pandemic changed the game and really boost my business a lot. And so I'm wondering, how did the pandemic change your business?
I actually was working corporate for about 10 years. And the last position that I was in for 5 years, I was a COO of a nonprofit. And I was actually working both of my businesses, what we would consider part-time, working in my businesses part-time. And August 2020, which was maybe 5 months into the pandemic, I actually quit my job. It was just too much with the pandemic going on and with the demands that were now taking place within the job and how it was changing. I just couldn't anymore. And I actually started full-time in both of my businesses August 2020. I had no plan. I had no rhyme or reason. It was just that I had to get away from what was hurting me and moving into what I thought would save me. And I knew that what I was doing for the corporate world, I could do for myself. So I just took a leap of faith. I stepped out. And when they tell you that peace that surpasses understanding, I had no clue what that meant until the day I quit. Even not knowing what was ahead of me, I just knew that, you know, God had me, and I knew that the skills that I had to be able to move myself forward. So that definitely was a big change for me.
Nice.
I'll chime in. So I actually started my law firm because I had a baby. Her name is Royal. She's 5 years old. Go figure, my business is almost 5 years old. Royal is 5 years old. I actually started my law firm and just decided, like you, to step out on faith. When Royal was 6 months old, actually, me and her father had just separated. I was working at a law firm as senior counsel, and I kept feeling like I was looking for the perfect fit. There is no perfect fit. That's the reality of the world that we live in. And what I did know was that I wanted to be a great mom. It was my first time being a mom. I actually now have a 9-month-old. That's another story that I'll share a little later. But for me, it was about being a great mom. And I wanted to be in a position where I had the work flexibility, because so this is really what the emergence of my firm started as. Me wanting to be a great mom, being driven by that purpose, and wanting to have work flexibility where someone wasn't clocking me. I was also serving on the board of elections at the time. And, you know, people were like, where is she now? What is she, why is she at the board of elections? Why is she not here? Mind you, I was the biggest rainmaker at this firm at the time. And I had just recently come into the firm after being at a larger firm. So I downsized firms thinking that that would help give me a little bit more work-life balance. Didn't quite work out the way that I thought it would. And so I asked myself, instead of looking for the perfect fit, why don't I just go create it? And so I did. October of 2018, I stepped out on faith, stepped out on my prayers to God, and really just started the district legal group out of that motivation. So 2019 was my first full year in business. Fortunately, since I had been a rainmaker at 3 other firms, I started my law firm with 20 clients. So I was able to start the firm, you know, and really just transition those cases over. As a trial lawyer, I substituted appearances, me for me, but at a different firm. And, you know, I was so fortunate that the people I had worked with, the people I had built relationships with over time, they just believed in me so much. You know, some of them had been to Royal's first birthday party. Some of them had, you know, been to, you know, my baby showers and things of that sort. So I really just had a following of people that were like, you know what, I want you. You know, you could be working for Santa Claus. I don't really care what the label or the title on the door is. You know, I just really appreciate you. I value your work. I value our relationship that we've created. And so I was fortunate to start my firm with 20 clients. Right now, we carry about 110 clients at any given moment. So, you know, it's just been a blessing to really just see the emergence of that. And also my business increased during COVID, like one of my other co-panelists discussed. So I was very fortunate for that. And part of the reason for that, I think, is during COVID, there was just a lot of uncertainty about employment, right? You know, people were starting to be more hyper vigilant about their treatment in the workplace. So my employment practice really burgeoned even more. And in the DC area, I'm known as an employment lawyer, even though we do a lot of other civil litigation and business work. But that's really where, you know, I'm ranked locally and nationally as an employment lawyer. So I think in that context, you know, the employment space, people were wondering, okay, well, what does COVID mean? Is this a disability? So there were just so many questions. Do I need to use FMLA? You know, what about remote work? People are saying, I can't remote work, and so I'm not going to have a job. Businesses are downsizing. Businesses are getting rid of people. So it was so much happening that I had to manage while also homeschooling. And so I was very fortunate I think to just be able to figure it out, because honestly, as a small business owner, oftentimes, and I'm sure my co-panelists can relate to this, you feel like you are building the plane while flying it. I am about 5 years in, and I still feel like I am building the plane while flying it. I just have a little bit more structure to the plane. But there's just so much to think about as a business owner, especially as you increase your revenue, your profit, your income stream, your employees, your staff. There are just so many foundational things that come up, that you don't even think about. As a person who works for an employer, you just kind of show up to work and you expect the policies to be in place. You expect the leave bank to be there. There are certain protocols, but as a small business owner, you had to create them. And I think during COVID, I didn't quite have the protocols in place. It wasn't really until post-COVID that I was really able to focus more, because people were trying to stay alive during COVID, that I was able to sit down and really start hammering out the foundational things. I think 2019, I was just trying to make sure I could do it, right? And then 2020 hit, and I'm like, wow, I still have to make sure I can do it and be a full-time mom, because nobody's about to come pick up this child, right? So it was tough. COVID was tough for all of us. I know a lot of small businesses that did not make it through the pandemic, and I think it's super unfortunate. And then there are some businesses, like some of my co-panelists, that really did boom during the pandemic. And I think that there are a lot of other environmental factors as to why that may be. So I'll stop there and allow someone else to share.
I can chime in. Mine was more of a. I'm glad you mentioned the employer aspect. My environment was pretty toxic, and I had been wanting to get away for about 2 years. My game plan was, if I get 10 clients, I can roll. I was also on a serious healing journey, going through a lot of grief, and it just came to me that you've been hustling for so long. That's not living. That's literally running a rat race. So I chose alignment. I chose to lean into the things that people call me for. Melissa, help me with this. I need a creative idea for that. Technologically, I'm pretty sound. The creative side was more of a side hustle for years versus it being, so I just flipped it. I went more towards my creativity and then was able to leverage my technology skills and ask for more money, because you wasn't just getting a social media manager. You was getting somebody that understood the background of your business. You got someone that understood brand identity and intellectual property. Alignment was seeing where I was needed and just step in. My offers range from a simple logo all the way to a full-blown brand and a launch. It could be anything and everything. And where I boned at was a lot of folks did not understand technology and marketing. It is one and the same these days. They also didn't understand that you can leverage it and not go broke. I've been a serial entrepreneur forever, so I kind of understood scaling, where to spend your money at and leverage what you're trying to do, where to join forces, use one application instead of having a Square account and a website. Spend the money and pay for the website to do your e-commerce versus paying that $100 a month for Square. So I was able to offer technology audits to help people, because I recognize in particular we were losing the game because we did not understand there are other ways to do it. There are less expensive ways to manage your affairs. Also, helping folks not do what they're not good at. You choose your logo, you go on Canva, you put that label on a product and start selling. I've had to save at least 2 or 3 businesses from serious legal issues because you're using someone else's image. You did not get your logo done by a graphic artist, and you put it on a label. Now you're making tens of thousands of dollars with somebody else's design. I've had clients who've had to pull all their stuff off the shelf. So now they're losing clients. Fiverr, wonderful tool. But if you are really, really trying to start your business, you got to pay attention to the business side of your business as well as the marketing side. So it helped me to heal other people in their businesses. I'm going to keep riding this thing till the wheels fall off. Because working remotely, they didn't want us to do that. My firm in particular, we turned our firm around in 3 days. Me and a 3-person team turned it into a whole remote company. They really did not want to do that. They wanted us to believe we had to be chained to our desk and at work 3 days, and everybody was home remote. Most businesses pay a lease. They want you in their offices. They pay a lot of money for those buildings. It's cheaper and more appropriate for our sanity to work from home, having a real true work-life balance. When I lost my mom, I ended up having to really, really evaluate how to stay up, how to not let the clouds take over, and just seeing other people shine helped me to do that. So that's
I can say a little bit. My name is Vanita again. So I started my business 8 years ago, and very similar to Miss Lewis, I have 3 kids under 8. So I started my business because I worked a lot and I needed to be like right next to them because I couldn't be in the office for 12 hours a day anymore. Like I just couldn't because the work-life balance is super important, and I didn't want to miss out on my real dream, which was to be a mom, you know. So COVID was amazing because my business, Cure My Credit Scores, fixing people's credit, is literally linked to the real estate market. Nobody really does anything with their credit unless they're trying to do something big, like buy a house, right? So the real estate market went crazy, and I could not let like it was over, just so many clients. It was amazing. But I really think what helps us in general, which helps us build our businesses, is having a great team. Integrity is super important, especially in my business. I think integrity is important in every part of your life, but integrity is super important, and showing up as your word is super important, and hiring and building a team full of integrity. And I think love, because I think anybody who's doing this type of work, like giving themselves to their work, being entrepreneurs, like you have to do it out of love. If you're doing it to make money, you could really just like be very hurt. It's really about creating a team that you trust and releasing control. When you create a team, I really feel like a lot of times for all of us, for everyone on the team, Black women, we are taught that we have to take care of everything. We have to take care of everything, and we have to hold on to everything. We have to do everything, and it literally makes us sick. It makes us sick. And if we don't allow and trust other people to help support us, we'll end up crashing, we'll end up burning out. So it's really about creating a team and allowing people to support you, and creating a team out of integrity. I really feel.
Awesome. Bonita, you touched on so many things that we're going to talk about. I'm so excited about all of it. So let's talk about creating a team and hiring. I know for most of us, we are solopreneurs, which means, we're the only ones and we're running every single aspect of our business. But for those of you who have hired, what made you take that step to hire, and what has been your process to make that a seamless occurrence?
I think it's important to always start off doing everything. My first business was I opened a restaurant nightclub. In my mind, I thought all I had to do was get cameras. If I got cameras, then I could just sit at home and watch everyone else work. And what I realized very quickly is I actually had to be the chef, the bartender, the security, the DJ. I had to do everything. And I think it's super important to do everything so you know what it actually looks like to do that job, right? And I think scaling, like Melissa said early, is super important to scale, but what it looks like is when I started my first business, when I started the restaurant club, my first day when we opened, I had 48 employees. And when I opened Cure My Credit Score, it was me. It was me and my computer. By the time I closed my restaurant, I had 7 employees and we were running the same as the 48 employees. Like in terms of, I think it's always good to scale up and not to hire a whole bunch of people in the beginning, because you gotta move at pace. I don't know. That's what I think.
For me, I didn't really have a need for staff early on. And another part of my passion is teams having jobs. I remember what it was like to break into IT. It's very hard. You got to have 2 years experience. So I started leveraging students, getting grants to pay interns. But you know, you get students, you get student problems. You got to weave your way through the serious-minded young person to the I just want it so bad I'll do anything type. And that's been pretty awesome for me, because I was very passionate about teams and leadership. And so the college level, I want to break into technology or marketing. I've been able to support them that way. But since my business has grown, I've had to outsource stuff that I just don't want to do. I was tired of being the plumber trying to fix a house. That's not my lane. So I'm assigning lanes to myself a lot better now. You do burn out faster when you're trying to do everything. It's absolutely okay. I agree with Benita. Try it all so you know what part of your business you need to, you know how you want it to run. You know how you want your accounting to run. You know which day you want your payroll to run. Bookkeeping is not my forte. So that was one of the first things. I was like, somebody else do it. Please take the numbers. I can't do them. Creatively, doing a logo for somebody, I can get a student to start the design for me, tweak it, finish it, and also help them learn how to manage the business side of having their skills out there and getting paid for them. So I outsource to other businesses, but my hiring practices are now just around interns or recent graduates.
Awesome. And you kind of brought up something else that I wanted to talk about, which is outsourcing. I know that as a, like I said, we wear many hats, and sometimes you just gotta give it up to somebody else to do. So let me jump in and ask Dawn, what are some of the things that you have outsourced or want to outsource?
Right now, I want to outsource everything. I'm just going to be completely honest. I am a one-man band or one-woman show, if you would say. But I love it. I love it and hate it at the same time, because it is a lot on yourself. The design industry is ever evolving. AI is now involved. There are different, more technology as far as tools to create are involved. And sometimes I cannot keep up with the demand of learning everything. So I am considering now outsourcing, like Miss Melissa mentioned, having someone to start and you go and do the finishing touches. I've always been in the role of a doer. I'm one of those people, you tell me what you need me to do, I can crank it out for you. I need to dictating and delegating was always one of the marks that I got on my performance reviews in the corporate world. I'm not a good delegator. I'm one of those people that believe that if you want to do it, something done right, you have to do it yourself. So I'm trying to get away from that. And I want to move into being able to delegate some of the design aspects, as well as some of the, like I was doing all of my bookkeeping and all of that. I just relinquished that over to a bookkeeper. But with your finances, you want to have somebody that you trust. So it was a member of my family who I helped start her finance business. So now she's my bookkeeper. So I am learning how to depend on others and how to ask for help. That is something that I find as an entrepreneur can sometimes be a little hard. I don't know if it's that you feel like if you're asking for help that you feel like in a bit that you're failing a little bit in your business, or if it's just that you don't want anybody else in your business. But yes, I am trying to outsource a few things at the moment. Whether or not they'll happen and when they'll happen, I don't know, but that is something that I am moving towards.
Okay, awesome.
One of the great things that you said is the piece that we have, and if you want something done, you have to do it yourself. I think that piece is super, super important as soon as possible to let go, because like the way I switched it up in my mind is like, if someone on my team isn't succeeding, it's because I need to train better. Like I took responsibility and I need to train better. And when I have to train them to win. And I know how to win because just like you said, Don, like, you know how to win, you know how to do this, you know how to, do the work that you're doing. But sometimes we want people to know things, or this is how I feel. Sometimes we want our team to know things that sometimes took us months, years, to develop. And we have to be able to bring it back down to the ABC part to get them where they need to be. So
Right.
as soon as I see something not working on the level that I think that it can work, I go straight into responsibility. I go straight into training. And it really does help to have people. Like I outsource everything. I mean, I outsource, washing my dishes. Like I outsource everything. I outsource my laundry. I outsource, cleaning my Airbnbs. For me, first of all, I love payroll. I love to pay people. Like it is like my favorite time of the week. It makes me so excited to be a part of people living out their dreams, and paying them well brings me joy. I think that, I also coach people with their business credit. So I coach them with building their business credit. I think even switching that mindset around payroll and around paying people really can change the game for a lot of businesses. I used to work for my boss. He literally, when it came to payroll, that was the worst day of the week for him. He felt like money was being taken out of his bank account and going to others. Like he felt like a loss, right? And, we all understand manifestation. We all understand the power of our words, the power of our thoughts. If we look at paying people and outsourcing and giving people opportunities, if we look at it, paying people as giving people opportunities as opposed to removing money from your own self, your own bank account or your own business account, it could help with the expansion of the business. Because just as Ms. Lewis said, she started off here, now she has this whole team. She could do 20 clients, but to do 150 clients, you need a team. And if you are able to switch certain mindsets, it really does help build the team.
Jada, we have a question in the chat. I don't know if you want to address that or move forward with the determined questions.
So I see we actually have 2 questions in the chat. And once we're done talking about the outsourcing part, I'm gonna go answer get those questions answered.
Awesome, thank you.
Awesome. Okay. So we were chatting about outsourcing and like hiring and like when you knew it was time. Deanna, are you able to jump in and answer that question? Like, when did you know it was time to hire? And what are the things that you outsource in your business or in your life?
Yes. And apologies, I'm like in between a sick child right now. So
All good, all good.
outsourcing. So another thing in terms of outsourcing, I have a full-time nanny. And childcare, as Ms. Grant had just kind of alluded to with her 3 under 8, which shout out to you because that is intense. But that's very important, you know, and I look at my nanny as someone who helps my business continue. So to answer the question of when I knew it was time, well, you know, I had in 2020, I hired 2 part-time attorneys. And at some point I was like, why do I have 2 part-time attorneys? Why don't I just have 1 full-time attorney, right? Because one of the things I wanted to do was really just see if I had the demand to meet the wages or income that would have been required to actually pay people, right? I didn't want to get in over my head too quickly because I knew I had a lot of work, but it's hard as an employer, especially when you're like a first-time employer just starting out, to really understand, can your business sustain or support, you know, paying someone regularly? So for me, starting out like, okay, you're going to have part-time hours, you're going to have part-time hours. Well, once both of them started exceeding their part-time hours threshold, which was about 20 hours a week, I was like, okay, it seems like, you know, this may be something that I want to look into a little bit more heavily. And so I did. And so I, again, stepped out on faith. And then I offered 2 attorneys 2 full-time positions. And it was really just based on the amount of work that I had and, you know, looking at the income. And one of the other important things that you have to think about as an entrepreneur is, can I pay these people, right? And so that means you have to, and I didn't have a financial person at the time. It was all me. So I'm the one doing client billing, invoicing, all of that. So you have to have some system that you create. If that means for a weekend, you have to sit there and send out client invoices while your friends are at happy hour or brunch, you have to sit there and do that, right? Because the reality is you can't pay people without it. People are not just going to voluntarily give you some money. Now, I do have some clients that are like, hey, I feel like I should renew my retainer. I feel like, you know, it's probably about time. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. You should renew your retainer. It is about time. And we probably should have sent you an invoice before right now. But nevertheless, you know, for the most part, people aren't actively trying to give away some money, right? And if you're going to work for free, theoretically, they're going to let you, right? Especially as a small business owner. Now, they won't go to Walmart and think that they can walk out with Walmart's products for free, right? Because they will look at that as theft. But for a small business owner, they don't necessarily look at it that way, especially if you're providing services, right? And it sounds like many of us on this panel today are. So people will let you work. And then it's like, when it's time to pay, it's like, wait, well, hold on. Like, well, how much work did you really do? Did you actually do all the work that you said you did? You know, are you sure I can't get a discount? You know, you my soror, right? I mean, so there are just a number of things that can happen. So in terms of outsourcing, I think for me, it got to a point where I knew, like Ms. Grant said, that I just could not handle it all for myself any longer. And I think I had started with the part-time positions. That showed me that I did have the clientele at that time to support 2 attorneys. And that's kind of the model, right? Right now, I'm actually contemplating hiring my 5th attorney. And I'm doing the same deliberative process with myself. Like, okay, can I really support 5 attorneys, right? And sometimes you really are just stepping out on faith, you know, and praying about it, because what you don't really want to do is offer someone employment, right? And have them think that they're going to now have a consistent paycheck and you not be able to sustain that need. And so for me, I outsource childcare, like Ms. Grant was talking about. I outsource groceries, I outsource housekeeping. The reality is, as an entrepreneur, you just can't do it all, especially when you are a mom, right? And I think that's okay. I think more of us, more people who look like us in this room, need to rely on third parties to help us get through, right? I think, you know, decades ago, the struggle was glamorized. We should not be struggling anymore if we can help it, right? And I think that thank God for technology. I think that there are so many technological platforms in place that can help your life be easier, because the reality is, especially as an entrepreneur, burnout is real. And I think even during COVID, that was something that I had to be mindful of, because being at home with, at the time, it was just one child. So Ms. Grant, the fact that you were at home during COVID with 3, it sounds like is impressive. I'm thoroughly impressed. But the fact that I had 1 trying to balance a business, because your business is your baby. I think all of us on this call would agree. Your business is also like another child that you have to nurture. And so through COVID, nurturing that while nurturing a real live human being, it was difficult. It was really difficult. And so I think you also, and I have to say this, you have to have a good administrative staff person, right? And for me, that was one of the very first things I had. My administrative assistant has been with me for 4 years. October, I would have had my firm for 5 years. So you do the math. She's basically been rolling with me from the beginning. And she started with me as an intern. I didn't really know the value of her. She actually came to me through an internship program that a friend of mine was doing. And I said, like, yeah, sure. Like, I'd love to have an admin. I didn't know what exactly an admin was supposed to do for me, but I knew that this person could help. And so figuring out how to have an administrative professional help you is going to be truly significant, right? Because you think about email responses, you think about, she actually helps with invoices. So you think about invoice sending, you think about billing, she helps with billing, you think about calendaring. I mean, you know, when you try to schedule stuff, just like I'm sure it's trying to schedule this event in and of itself with everyone's competing calendars, you know, with everyone's competing, you know, schedules, you know, it's really hard to coordinate. So imagine doing that as a business owner when you're just trying to talk to somebody on the phone. You know, clients want your services, but they're like, oh, can't talk here, can't talk there, but then you have court or you have a meeting or so on and so forth. So there are a number of things that you want to be mindful of, and you really have to check in with yourself and ask yourself, okay, what are my current needs and what exists that can help me support them? So even if you can't get a real live person, there are also virtual assistants. I know a lot of small businesses start with those. So those are just some examples.
Yes. I think what you said was amazing, all of it. And literally moving from part-time to starting off with part-time and then moving to full-time is super important. You start off like Melissa said earlier, you start off with someone working for 5 hours a week. And then when the business grows, you get into 10 hours a week. Because if you go straight, like I did with the other business, you know, you're gonna be telling people, I'm sorry, I can't afford this. Or like I did, or use all of your savings just to support somebody because you had you moved too quickly. And I think the other great thing that Ms. Lewis said was, you know, pulling interns, you know, starting off, Ms. Quick said it earlier too, starting off with college students, you know, starting off with free labor. You can't having your nephew come over and do what, you know, I need you to lick these stamps and mail this stuff to that, you know what I mean? Like get all of the support. I think that's super important.
I just want to add that part of the process definitely looks like checking in with how you can duplicate yourself. What type of automation can you put in place? We won't always be able to afford new staff. You can start off, a lot of my clients don't even know that they could schedule their social media. For me, one of the big jumps was when they finally allowed me out of beta with ChatGPT. I'm sure everybody's heard about the AI stuff. I went from being able to create 30 days of content over a couple of days, and I can do 30 days of content in 3 minutes and schedule that for a client. I don't even do social media management. It's such a small part of my business now, because I don't have to have hands-on. I can literally have an intern make sure that the schedule looks good and the images match the words that I put. But all of these tools some of us are running from, they're literally there to help. They can scale you all the way down to the point, and then you look at, now I can hire somebody to do something else I can put on my plate that's a bit more meaningful. Schedule stuff, look at the tools that you're using, see how you can leverage them and duplicate yourself.
Yeah, to piggyback off of Melissa about the using ChatGPT. Listen, ChatGPT for me is day, honey. That is day all day. And so actually, we started using ChatGPT 2 clients ago, and I'm telling you, it's been the best ever, like creating an entire brand strategy in less than a couple of hours has been amazing. And not only that, just using the other tools like Mid Journey to create the designs. I mean, it's a very valuable tool. And so I would encourage everyone who's listening and watching to get into it, because AI is here. It's not going anywhere. So you might as well adapt to it and use it to your ability, because let me tell you, it's been an amazing tool for my partner and I to use.
Awesome. I'm actually going to go back. We have a couple questions in the chat. And so one person asked, Gong asked, what do you think are the major skills you need before starting your business?
I think that probably depends on the business you're choosing, but definitely a desire. I mean, someone said it earlier, work from your passion.
Mhm.
I am a firm believer in monetizing things I love to do.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel like work. It feels like fun. It feels like play.
Yeah, I agree with Melissa. I tell people all the time, don't start a business just because you're seeing someone to the left or to the right. You know, social media has, like someone mentioned, glorified entrepreneurship, but make sure it's something that you're passionate about. I don't think that there's necessarily a skill set other than something that you are passionate about. Everything else you can pretty much learn along the way.
Right.
And I think I would add, sometimes you can monetize things that just come easy to you. Not necessarily that you're passionate about it, but sometimes things just come easy, and monetize those, because you can get, that's something that you probably downplay that other people, really value.
Yeah. Yeah. What is that thing that people always come to you about?
Mm.
That's the other thing. What is it that people always come to you about?
Mm-hmm.
And you can start from there too, in terms of trying to figure out what it is that you want to do.
Isn't it funny how we run from our passions? Like we're good at something, people are coming to us, and we still go left and do something
Completely different.
Absolutely. So another question we have in the chat is from Brittany, and she said, can you discuss your approach to developing your business plan at the onset? For example, did you consult with other small business owners, or were there helpful resources online that you used to develop your plan? And this is a very interesting question, because I'm actually sitting at the African American History Museum, and we had this discussion yesterday, and most people do not start their business with a business plan. So
I
it's very
definitely did
interesting.
not. And that was one of the, I'm not going to say one of the worst things that I could have done, but it definitely hurt me in the long run. So like now, year 3, I'm actually having the time, because I was in survival mode. Let's just be honest. I was in survival mode entrepreneurship. I was in fight and flight, and that's all I was doing for 3 years. And like now I'm able to mellow out and actually take the time to plan how I want my business to grow, what I want my business to do, how I want it to look, and all of that. So definitely resources, Small Business Administration. Their website actually has a lot of resources, and they're also down at the county and state level. If you look on those websites for Small Business Administration or the Maryland Business Express, if you are in this area, they have a lot of resources as well for planning out your business.
I actually hired someone to do mine when I haven't had, not for this business, because I pretty much know how to do it myself now, but for when I had my skincare and beauty cosmetics, I hired someone to create my my business and marketing plan for me, because you need a blueprint, right? It's easy, most of us, we just want to get to it. We just want to start it. But eventually you're going to need some type of blueprint to follow to see where you're going, and has some type of outlook on things. So I would definitely encourage you having a business plan, more importantly, a marketing plan, because that's, really important, so that you can see where you're going, how far you came, and things like that.
So,
I'm sorry.
if I can just pop in, I actually don't do any marketing for my law firm. My cases really and my clients have really just come from word of mouth. And just me being actively involved in the community. And I think that's because I'm very active civically in the community. I'm very active in the legal community. I actually just transitioned from being president of the Washington Bar Association on Wednesday. So shout out to me having a little bit more free time. But I think, I do want to do marketing, right? So I'm glad to meet and connect with many of you because I think the reality is to continue taking your business to the next level, you do need a designated and a dedicated marketing plan. So that point is certainly not lost on me. I think for me, because I have been able to generate the business and I'm the only rainmaker for my firm. So all of the clientele that comes in is through me directly. So none of my attorneys bring in business, although I do offer them incentives to do that. So we haven't quite gotten that. We're going to talk about it at our next monthly meeting. But because it is tiring, and I'm sure all of you all can relate, as someone who's, the front facing person for your business and really trying to generate clientele, it's very tiring. I mean, the marketing side of the business, I think someone was just speaking to this, is completely separate from the business side of the business. And I think for me, I am looking to expand. I would like to evolve my firm into a mid-sized firm, a mid-sized Black woman-owned firm, which there aren't many of them that exist, quite honestly. I mean, there's only 2.5% Black women lawyers in the country. Just a little fun fact that I don't even know if people realize there is about 4.9% of Black lawyers between men and women in the United States of America out of all lawyers. And so, that's significant. And for me, this is personal, right? I am now in a place where I want to show other people that you can do it. I want to be a resource for people, who also look like me, who are comfortable with me, who identify with me, and with people at my firm. So they can, because my firm is actually very diverse. I'm the actual only Black lawyer at my firm. So we have different ethnicities. We have a Spanish speaking lawyer. So we have a lot of diversity. I think, we have a male lawyer, and that's also important to me to make sure that we can serve a diverse group of clientele. And as a Black woman and as a Black woman leader, it's also important for me to be able to teach my non-Black colleagues, because I look at them as colleagues. I don't look at them as me being their boss. We are a team, right? And so when I'm assigning, and I know I'm doing a little caveat, but when I'm assigning cases, I ask them, do you have capacity to do this? Because I manage everyone's workload. I let them know we have a global calendar. I see you have these 3 deadlines coming up. Can I assign you a new case? Is this something you think you can take on? I see you have vacation plans for next week. Do you think you can get this done by this deadline? Because you have 14 days to respond to a motion to dismiss. And we do a lot of oppositions to motions to dismiss. And so anyway, I look at my colleagues at my firm as a team, because we are all working on this thing together. So anyway, but as it relates to, the business and bringing in business and clientele, that is something I do on my own. And it's because people know me in the community. They know I'm a lawyer. A lot of people don't even really know what I do, but they know I'm a lawyer. They're like, oh, Deanna, the lawyer. So they'll call me and ask me about stuff I do not do. And I have a great referral network. I have a lot of lawyers that I can absolutely refer people to. And I do that. And so as it relates to the marketing side, I'm a part of this membership called Justice Connection. And it's a Black woman-owned online legal platform where people who are looking for lawyers can go find lawyers and do a little search. And so that's pretty cool. So I do that. But other than that, other than just my online presence, and I don't actually have a very active social media, but I am online. You can find me. You can Google me. I'm a legal analyst for DC News Now. So people do find me in different ways because of just my activity in the community. So I do think marketing is very important, as it was just talked about. I think that was Ms. Boyd who was talking about that. And I would encourage everyone to figure out how to have a marketing plan. In terms of a business plan, however, I did not have one. I still don't have one. I mean, if we consider the notes in my phone where I'm like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that. Okay, that's my business plan. I will be in the shower and write a little note to myself. So I have this ongoing 5-year note for my firm that, I mean, for all intents and purposes, is my business plan. But I never really sat down down and like wrote it out. I just kind of, again, built the plane while flying it. And I think for some people, they feel more comfortable having that business plan, you know, and one of the things I do, I advise businesses, right? And so I can tell you what you should be doing. I can tell you what it looks like. I can tell you how to make a great business plan. I did not do that for myself. So I think it also boils down to, and this is the last thing I'll say, is knowing yourself, knowing who you are, knowing what's comfortable for you, knowing how you operate. Because for me, I just needed to do it, right? I was a mom. I got a 6-month-old crying. You know, I got a job that's not working out, and, you know, they clocking me. I'm with Terry at the Board of Elections, and they're like, where are you? And I'm just like, but didn't I just bring y'all 15 clients? Why are you asking? You know, I'm at the Board of Elections. Anyway, so it did not, it was a lot happening. And I said, you know what, I just need to do it like Nike. And so I encourage people, you know, a lot of entrepreneurs, I think they always want to know when is the best time. There's never a best time. You just have to go. It's like working out. You just gotta go. You gotta do it.
I agree with that. And for those of you who haven't started a business yet and you're waiting to have that business plan perfect, stop. Don't let that be your obstacle. Don't let that be the thing that hinders you.
Distraction.
Start moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that to me, that's just a just fear, you know, where they feel like they have to have every, you know, check off the boxes with everything. Like you said, just start it. But as time going along, like Dawn said, you want to revisit having something more structured so that you can follow.
Yes. And so that's gonna move us along so we have another question in the chat, and that is, how do you reconcile starting a business based on passion as opposed to money when your current job is demanding, but you want a second stream of income that is not as demanding, such as vending machines? And so for me, when I read this question, it makes me immediately think of the systems that you have in your business, such as, you know, making things automated and having things in place where you can be a little bit more hands off. So could each of you ladies, I guess, talk about the systems you have in your business and if those systems allow you to be a little bit more hands off in, you know, creating income?
So if it's a matter of like the question stated, not necessarily being on passion, but just because you just want to make some extra money, it goes a little bit back to what Deanna was saying. You have to know yourself, know what your limitations are. And then also, if you've done your research, knowing what it all takes into being able to do this, what the startup cost is going to be, what it's going to take for you to manage, how are you going to get these vending machines into different places, different avenues, what vendors are you going to use, what are you going to use to stock your vending machine, what type of vending machine is it going to be, because they're not just vending machines out there now that are just selling fruits and snacks. You have t-shirt vending machines, you have eyelash vending machines, you have, you know, all kinds of vending machines. So there's a lot to think about, as well as a lot to plan. If it is just going to be, you know, I just want to make some extra money, you need to really plan out how you're going to make that extra money. Because like you said, your job is demanding. I've been there where the 9 to 5 was so demanding that you are working in your business part-time. Even though you're working in your business part-time, you have to learn not to give it part-time attention, if that makes sense.
And I also want to add to that, as I mentioned earlier about choosing a business. Why did you choose that? Is it something that you're truly passionate about, or is it something that you saw on social media and they made it seem like, oh, this was easy, fast money? So it all goes back to like Deanna said, knowing yourself. Why did you choose this business? Is it something that you're really passionate about? Like, is it something that comes easy to you to do? So think about those things when you think about starting a business.
Piggybacking off of Ms. Boyd, knowing yourself means recognizing when you got that superwoman cape on at that office, that 9 to 5. How many hats are you wearing and how many hats are you being paid to wear?
Say that.
Once you do that math, you probably end up with way more time, more personal time. And have a conversation with them come professional development or that year-round review. And if they don't pay you for the extra hats you're wearing, That's your time right there. You can build that in. Vending machines are a great resource. I'd rather folks lean towards what they love, but passive income is something to love. Just having that passive income. The thing I would say is don't reinvent the wheel. There are franchises that do that. They already got the business plan for you. Just go and buy into it. Don't make a 5-year investment. Do the 1-year investment, which costs a little more sometimes, but it's worth it because you can see the business. You're getting more than you were getting before you were doing it. And then that second year, you go off on your own and do it. There are ways to do passive income and it not be another full-time job. And vending is something that you could just look into. Find if you go on Chat GPT and just type it in, it'll tell you the easiest way or who to reach out to in like 1.5 seconds. Stuff like that you can find pretty easily, and just don't try to reinvent the wheel. If it's just about the passive income, see who has a success model and do that.
I wanted to pop in and just say something that's probably a little unpopular, right? I think that we are in a point in our lives and just in a point in society where people are looking for work-life balance. They're looking to not be stressed. They're looking to have a lot more peace and harmony, in their day-to-day. And I think that's great. But the unpopular opinion I want to mention is being an entrepreneur is a grind, and you have to mentally get comfortable with being uncomfortable, especially if you have children, right? So for me, when I started my business, I was like, well, I'm already not sleeping, right? So let me tell you, as an entrepreneur and a mom, like the lack of sleep is real, right? And you really, like, I probably now, and I'm glad this is not a wellness conversation, right?
Okay.
But I take naps. I don't really sleep, right? I don't really get full night sleeps. I have a 9-month-old, I have a 5-year-old who wakes up in the middle of the night because there are monsters in her room, apparently. So, and then I have a 9-month-old who now is sleeping through the night, but about a month ago she wasn't. But now my 5-year-old has monsters in her room, so she's not sleeping through the night. So what do I do when I wake up? I check my emails, I respond, I start sending out client invoices, right? Because I'm already up, I tell the people who work with District Legal Group, if I email you at 3:00 in the morning, please don't respond back. Please get yourself some sleep. I know I'm operating in an unorthodox realm right now. I do not expect that from you. In fact, I started my firm to not have people do stuff like this, right? But this is how I've been for a very long time. I feel like once I had my first child, I just never learned how to sleep again, right? So, and I'm a breastfeeding mom. And for those breastfeeding moms who are on the panel and on the call, every 2 to 3 hours, you got some little small person here, or you in a machine like you a cow. So, so you already don't sleep a lot. And so for me, I take advantage of that time. So while I'm doing my overnight pumpings, and I'm not doing those as much anymore, but I still end up waking up in the middle of the night because I breastfed and pumped for my first daughter for I think 10 or 11 months. And I'm doing the same for my second daughter now. And so when I wake up in the middle of the night, even if I don't pump, I'll check my email. I may make a social media post because I'm horrible at that. You all heard me talk about how I had no marketing plan. So I'm going to talk to a couple of you after this. But nonetheless, I may make a social media post because one of the things that I've identified, and I get clients from social media, they like the fact that I post like, yes, I'm, this top lawyer, whatever you want to call it, but I'm a mom, right? And I'm a very real person. What you see on this panel is what you will see in a client consultation. That is how you see me. That's what you get in business. And I think what people like about that is the fact that I'm real. I'm not trying to be anybody I'm not. I'm going to keep it real with you. I'm going to talk to you like a real person. I'm not going to use words you don't understand. And if I do use words you don't understand, I'm from DC. I can figure out how to simplify it for you, right? So I think as a lawyer, what's important people think, oh, lawyers, you're so smart. You use all these words people don't understand. I think that's a disservice to people as a lawyer, right? As a lawyer, you should be able to talk to people like normal people, because we are all normal people. I just got a couple letters behind my name and I went to school for a long time. I have 2 law degrees, so it was a real long time. It was a hard time, very long time.
So
But
Deanna, it was something that you just said about how on social media, how people can relate to you. And that's something that I just spoke about on my Instagram weekly live the other day is today people are buying or doing business with the person. It's not about the product. It's not about how well it works. They want to connect with you. So you showing up as your full self on social media is very powerful, and it's a great way to connect and to grow your business, because people, you know, there's tons of, like you said, there's other attorneys that they can work with. There's other girls who sell lip gloss or clothes. What is it that's going to separate you from them? And it's you. It's you being you. And so remember that when you're on social media, although Deanna, like she said, she's not on there much, but when she is, it's impactful because she's being authentic, and people gravitate towards that these days on social media versus you just popping up your product or services.
Absolutely. Like some of the things I talk about on my stories, if y'all ever want to watch, I go to, so when I was pregnant with Rain, that's my youngest daughter, I worked out 4 to 5 times a week. Now, post Rain, I don't really have that luxury, because it absolutely is a luxury. I think all of us would agree being able to work out and find time in your schedule is a luxury, but I still try to work out. So I talk about my struggles with work-life balance on my social media. I talk about, I haven't been able to get to the gym in a week and a half because I've been in court. Of course, I've been in court. I'm a trial lawyer, right? But I'm just like, y'all, they are making me work for it right now. So I share those stories, you know, on my social media, primarily on my stories, because they disappear in 24 hours. But I talk about, you know, oh, you know, baby Rain, she just started gymnastics, so we got a little cute picture in the gymnastics place, you know. And I think people, especially women, like even if women don't have children, you got a lot of aunties, you got a lot of rich aunties out here, right? You got a lot of people who support people with children, you know. And so I think that they just like that. They like seeing cute. Who doesn't like a cute picture of a baby, right? So, you know, I try to share and bring people into my world. You know, sometimes I ask people like, okay, so my firm, we actually, because we're now starting to transition to branding and marketing, right? Or I am starting to transition to that. So we just got photos done, professional photos done a few weeks ago. So I posted, okay, which pictures do y'all like? So people would like tell me this and tell me that, because I'm a Libra. Shout out to my LS Terry Saleh, who's also a Libra. And so we can be indecisive. We like everything that's pretty and glitters and is gold. We're like, yep, I want that, and that, right? So I will go to my social media stories and ask people, okay, which one do you all like? Because at the end of the day, I don't go to my website. I'm not looking at myself on my website, but I want to know from you all, okay, if you were to go to my website, what would make you want to hire me? Assuming you don't know me and you just put my name in Google somewhere and you're like, yes, that is the picture right there. So those are just types of things that I do with my social media. You know, I'm always with my parents. I love my parents very much. And I'm also a DC native. So I talk a lot about being a DC native, you know, and just kind of those, and being a public school product, and just kind of those experiences I have. And so, you know, I think to your point, Ms. Boyd, it's being relatable, right? And this goes back to what I was saying earlier about really knowing yourself, knowing who you are. Like, sure, I could sit there and be like, yes, I am the strong lawyer, and, you know, like do like justice poses and all that stuff. I mean, and I think those are cute and all, but at the end of the day, this is my personality. It's very lively. It's very rambunctious. It's also very busy. So, you know, I have a lot to say because I have a lot going on. But so with that, I will stop talking.
I want Miss Lewis to stop saying she's not marketing. You're like a walking
Exactly. All you're doing is marketing.
Everything you're doing is marketing. And the thing is, social media blew us up thinking that's the only way. The only thing that social media did was level the playing field. I can now go up against a whole corporation because I can be on social media now, and it's free, like how we used to watch television commercials. But you being out in the community is marketing. That's where marketing starts. People seeing you, word of mouth. I would not have business without word of mouth. I am horrible at my own social media, and I'm out here managing social media channels. I literally don't have time for my own stuff. But because I'm out there and you're out there in that community, you already have a marketing plan. You just haven't labeled it. Every name all the organizations that you're with. That's marketing. I remember at my firm, they hated the marketing department because they had to do those pictures, those refresh pictures for the website. Then I exposed them to LinkedIn. That's marketing. Your LinkedIn profile is your professional marketing tool. If you want to get corporate clients, that's where you go. You want those everyday clients, it's those other social media channels. I'm fairly certain that you left your firm with a strong LinkedIn profile that you can either update or not update, and that's marketing. So yeah, you're a heavy marketing man. You're doing a good job at it.
Yeah, that's why it's information shares are so important. And to your point, Ms. Quick, and I want to say this. I'm sorry, I don't want to dominate the conversation, but I also think that people don't realize that your peers are literally your mentors, right? People think, oh, I got to go find somebody that's been doing this for 20 years. I need to go find the OG lawyer and talk to the OG lawyer. The OG lawyer is thinking about retirement. You want to talk to people who are literally in the trenches right now with you, because the information share, the information grab is significant. And I think a lot of people don't understand that your friends, your colleagues, your line sisters, you are each other's mentors. They call them peer mentors. And I think people devalue the importance of those relationships. There are things that I know I will call Terry for, I will call Dewana for. I mean, there are things, you know, and people like look at you sometimes like, is you're a superhero? I don't feel like I'm a superhero, but as an entrepreneur, sometimes you got to wear that cape and you are a superhero.
She is a superhero.
But nonetheless, the reality is I don't look at myself as doing anything different from what other people are doing other than sleeping. And so I would encourage everybody to sleep. But what I will say is one of the reasons I have been able to be as successful as I am is because I don't sleep. And that's not something to brag about, right? I really want to sleep. I really enjoy sleep. I think sleeping is a wonderful thing. Like just, you know, the fact that your body needs it. So we'll have a wellness conversation that I will not be a panelist for, and I will listen and absorb. But nonetheless, I think that you do have to understand that as an entrepreneur, it's a grind and you have to mentally and physically be prepared to do it.
So we have some questions in the chat, and so they're actually topics that I'm already planning to touch. But since we're already talking about social media and marketing, we have a question from Kimberly, and it says, how do you balance using social media marketing so that the people get to know you and being relatable while also maintaining a level of personal privacy and not feeling obligated to overshare for business?
I have that issue. A lot of the reasons why I don't share on social media or I don't make a lot of posts, I don't want to be personable. Not in the sense that I don't want people to know who I am and what my, you know, brand or what my services are about, but it's more so I can talk a lot too. And sometimes when you get into the the mode of sharing, you do start to overshare it and you're like, wait a minute, did I mean to say all of that? And then come the comments and then come this, that, and the other. So it is a balance. And it goes back to what Miss Melissa and Deanna were saying. You have to know yourself. That is how you're going to know what is considered for yourself oversharing. What are you uncomfortable? If you're not comfortable with something, don't do it because you see, like Tona has mentioned, other people doing it on social media. They overshare to this extent, or they share this, that, and that. But you have to decide what you're comfortable with letting the world know.
And I will add to that, share only what's relatable to what you're doing. You know, if you're, for instance, if your business in maybe a physical therapy, we'll just say that. You don't have to share anything about you cooking, what you're cooking for that day. You know, only share what's relatable. And that's what I'm about branding and business. So I'm going to share that. I'm going to give you some words of advice, pop on there and do some little inspiration for the day. So like Dawn said, only what you're comfortable with and only what's relatable. And then later on, if you feel like, spilling the tea on other things, then yeah, but only things that's relatable to what you're doing.
One thing I'll say is it doesn't have to be you all the time. One way to get more popular and get that digital currency is to share other people's content. If somebody says something that resonated with you and you share it, that's still you sharing how you feel about something. Plus the algorithms like that. It's going to push you more because you push somebody else. You don't necessarily have to be online 24/7. I have about 2 clients that are oversharers, and scaling them back looks a lot like, aren't you tired? You just mentioned you haven't gotten any sleep. Not Miss Lewis is not my client. There are a lot of people that are doing that. She's not sleeping, but you're sitting on your phone responding to stuff, and you don't necessarily have to be on all the time. The way it works is people want to spend money with you because they found you on social media, right? They love your content, they love your personality. But at the same time, at some point, they're going to go back and want to see that professional side, that curated content, especially right when they're ready to spend the money. Oh, I love her, but let me go see, does her website look clean? Does she have, what does those grids look like on her social media? Is it all her spewing about her life? Folks will turn against you real quick. Oh, all she talks about is this. All she talks about is that. They get super critical. So it doesn't have to always be you. Share other people's content, give them credit. Now you're borrowing audiences. That's free digital currency, borrowing audiences. So see some stuff you like, hit that share button. The repost button that they finally added to TikTok allows you, when you're making a comment on content that you like, right there is a checkbox to repost that. Use that. That's sharing you in a way that's not necessarily you having to be on 24/7. And by on, I mean happy, excited, and engaging.
Yeah, so that's like user-generated content, UGC.
Yes.
Is what Melissa, So you can borrow somebody else's, but like she said, make sure you give them credit, because honey, people don't like you stealing their stuff.
Use it to your advantage though. And most people assuming that borrowing it looks a lot like stealing it. Not if you give them credit. You put it on there for it to be shared. We're just sharing it even more. So you grow, I grow, we grow. And that's the background of the algorithms. It actually wants you to do that.
I think just like you said, Ms. Boyd and Ms. Quick, branding is super important. So I share on my social media about credit, and I share about my 3 boys. That's it. Like, like it creates a human, like a real human. This is a woman who's raising 3 sons, and they're cute. They're super cute. So it's great. But I also am a Sagittarius, and I also love to travel. I love traveling, and I am always traveling. And I used to share about me traveling. I don't anymore. I've noticed that for me, in the work that I do, because I'm in so many pots, right? People want me to be only home working on their credit, like all day. Like they don't want to see anything. Like I lived when COVID was going on. It just hit me. I'm like, why am I here? Nobody's actually meeting up. So I lived in Costa Rica for a year, and I had this same background, right? Because once people started to find out that I lived there, they started to think that I wasn't working, even though I was working with them. So sometimes you have to be careful on what you share, because not everybody is wanting to see all of that. They want a story, and the story is, I raised these 3 boys and I fix your credit. That's what I do. That's my life. Now, I'm with Miss Lewis. I also did not sleep. I started off with twins. So I started off, just abundance is my name. So I started off with twins. So I didn't sleep. I think for the first 3 years, I slept at maximum 3 to 4 hours a night. I don't have the same conversation with sleep anymore. I don't have it. But I do really, really think even with the world of being an entrepreneur and giving your all, you have to feed yourself first. You have to. My routine now is wake up, I drop my kids off at school, and then there's 2 hours of Bonita time. It is meditation, it's working out, it's watching TLC, you know, like whatever I need, but it is 2 hours before I give to anyone else, because during COVID, like two of my businesses just doubled, right? And then for fun, I decided to start day trading, right? Because my neighbor was day trading and he was like, it's amazing. And I was like, I want to be amazing. So I started day trading, which is literally stressful. Like, it's stressful, but it was great. Like, I made great money because it was during COVID. It was the most volatile market. It was great, right? But literally, I had 3 major surgeries in 2020. I almost died because I didn't feed myself. I did not outsource. I didn't let things go. I was literally talking to, I counted one day, I was talking to 63 clients in a day. Like, it was not okay. It was not okay. Now, like I love the fact that people still, like, they call me and they're like, I know you're busy. I know you're busy, but I got this question. I know you're busy, but I got this question. And I want people to think I'm busy. I want them to be direct. I want them to tell me exactly what they need. I don't need people to know that I may be sitting here watching 90 Day Fiance and I'm like, you know, but I want you to get straight to the point. Like, so we create a brand. We create like a story for people. But also super important to feed yourself, to fill your cup. You want your cup to overflow onto the world. You don't want it to be like you just like dry, because that, like, I almost died and like, okay, I'm helping so many people. People are, you know, changing their lives because of the work I'm doing. But I was about to leave my baby like without their mom because I was so stretched and stressed. So yes, Miss Lewis, I love it and I know it's real. Right? I know it's real. And you know, it took me, it was a clearly, you know, a learning journey. But I took that lesson, and yes, believe, like, you see the sun on me, you don't know where I am in the world. And everyone who knows me, they're always like, where are you, Benita? Because if I'm gonna work like this, I do want to be able to walk to the beach. I do want to be able to, you know what I mean? Like, we do what we need to do, but we have to figure out how to give it away, outsource, let other people help, you know, like Ms. Lewis, you were saying a few minutes ago, I wrote down, like, you have to trust people, but you have a whole team. 12 of my employees, well, I call them my team too. 12 of my team, I've known for longer than 10 years. I hire people I trust. Like, and if you've been my friend or you're in my life for 10, 12 years, like, why not? You know, like, you know, why not go to, you know, a business retreat and then it end up being your family and friends, and your, you know, high school friends or college friends and da 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 da. If you have that integrity and you are out there in the world showing up and giving and loving, like, you will develop everything you need. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Can I jump in real quick, Soror Jada? Because I do think it's important, right? Because Ms. Grant, she has been in business for 8 years, right? I'm in my 5th year in business. And so what I think the comment she's making shows that there is a trajectory to business, right? I think in the beginning of being an entrepreneur, you're going to be grinding, right? I'm about 5 years in, and now I'm just now like, okay, marketing. Okay, let me tell my admin not to schedule anything for me. I have now an admin day. I literally just thought of this a week ago. So on Mondays, it is my admin day, because you are not going to talk me to death all day, every day. Literally, I wake up, I don't know who I'm talking to. I don't know what's on my calendar. If I have a consultation, I get all these multiple calendar invites. I have like sometimes 10 consultations in a week. And so that's just me back to back to back to back, talking to people for short, limited scope representations about something, right? Giving them advice, giving them direction, giving them strategy, right? And one thing for me about a consultation, I try to get them to a point where if you are not in in a financial position to retain the firm or retain a lawyer in general, you have some next steps that you can move forward from. That's not the point of this conversation. What I'm saying right now is, in the beginning as an entrepreneur, you're going to grind, right? I think 3 to 5 years becomes that sweet spot where you're like, might know a little bit of what I'm doing. I might feel a little bit more comfortable. You may be more willing to say no, right? And I think now I'm at the 5-year mark where I'm like, okay, now I need to focus on marketing and branding. Now, and I understand, yes, Miss Quick, I'm marketing, I'm branding, I get it. But I mean, in terms of a more formalized marketing branding strategy, I'm kind of like, okay, 5 years in now, okay, I need to think about this. I need to think about this. I need to think about more foundational pieces that I didn't really have the time, just honestly, to think about. And now, as I'm talking with you all, I'm talking about, I need to think about sleeping and how to sleep more, even though I do. So I get all that, but I think where Miss Grant is right now, she's 8 years in the game. She's like, what country do I want to work from today, right? And so I think that we all have to recognize, because there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but we all have to recognize that there are stages to entrepreneurship. I'm looking forward to year 8 when I can be at somebody's beach taking calls, right? And I'm working to get there. But the reality is, you're not going to start your business taking calls from Costa Rica unless you are a travel agent. You might, right? There are some people who are like, you know what, I'm going to marry the two. But the reality is, you need to understand your business, right? And what you're trying to do with your business, what you're trying to accomplish. What is your financial goal, right? I have a 7-figure financial goal that I set out 3 years ago. And so you have to understand, what do I need to achieve weekly to do this? What do I need to bring in monthly to do this? I even have a daily goal, right? So I look at, okay, what is my daily breakdown? What is my, in terms of revenue that's generated? What is my weekly breakdown? What is my monthly breakdown? I know at what point in the year I need to be at to achieve this goal at the end of the year. Everyone's not going to start off there, and that's okay. You know, my first year in business, I essentially made exactly what I made working at a law firm, period. And for some people, that's great, right? But for me, I'm like, I did all this work.
Exactly right.
Collected a paycheck under somebody else. So I think that we have to recognize that there are stages to entrepreneurship. I think some entrepreneurs and small business owners think, man, I'm not making 6 figures tomorrow, right? I'm not making 7 figures by the end of this year. That is okay. We all have to start somewhere. I think what you need to understand is, what you're trying to do support the lifestyle that you currently have? Are there places you need to pull back from, right, to make this work for you? And if this is truly something you're willing to give your all to, because you have to give it to your all, you have to give your all to it, and then you can go to Costa Rica and work for a year like Miss Grant and still make revenue and have multiple streams of income.
Okay.
I just want to circle back real quick on oversharing. Look at your insights, that little button on all your social media. See what the people want. Whatever one of those posts that got the most views, that's what your audience is asking for. So sometimes we're sharing stuff, or we're oversharing, and we're not even sharing what the people are looking for anyway. So you could buy yourself some time by looking at, you know, what was the post that got the most whatever information, the most views or whatever, and go from there. You can then redo that content over and over again and spare yourself the oversharing potential.
Yeah. Okay, so we kind of talked about it a little bit, but I want to touch this question now that we're here. We had a question from, I believe it's Zatique. I hope I'm pronouncing that wrong. I'm not sure. So she's asking, when your business is, based upon a certain technical skill set or service, and you can't automate a lot of the work, how do you balance all of the hats that you have to wear? So we kind of talked about balance a little bit, but I know Dawn and Tona and Melissa, I would like you all to jump in and talk about balance, especially as service providers that, a lot of what we do is our own work.
Specifically,
I was just going to say, you could automate your intake process. That saves you some time. When you're onboarding clients, that saves you some time. See what can become a digital form, and use electronic signatures if it's some stuff that people need to sign. look into the business tools that support you in having it turn out that way. There are a lot of them. There's an app for that, probably, in most cases.
I was definitely gonna say the same thing specific to her particular LLC, which is building designs. And I'm not for certain if you're familiar with CAD, but that is also something that you can look into. And there are also AI programs out there now that are doing some of these renderings and drawings. So that is something that you want to look into as well. Using ChatGPT coupled with some of these AI processes can actually help you automate some of your drawings for the because what you're talking about is more in the architectural field and drawing floor plans, creating renderings and things like that. There are some AI programs that I have seen recently come out that will assist you with that, and coupled with using JetPT prompts to kind of project that forward.
Yeah. So as Dawn mentioned, so one of the things that Melissa stated about having intake. So we typically use HoneyBook as a intake to, for the clients to schedule their booking as a way to keep in contact with clients on milestones and next steps. In terms of automating your social media, there are also tools for that lets you schedule. Instagram in specific will let you schedule your posts right inside of Instagram. So there are platforms and tools that you can use to automate your process to make things a lot better and smoother, where you don't have to spend so much time. And again, back to my good old ChatGPT, my husband, you can, in less time, you can schedule, create email newsletters, blogs, contracts, anything you name it, you can do it there in less time than it would have usually taken before this tool came out. So use all of these tools to your advantage so that it streamlines your business and process so that you can focus more on generating clients and customers and not on the other things.
Yep.
I hope that answered your question. I see you nodding.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Which could you ladies tell us which I guess AI you would recommend?
I will always start out with ChatGPT, especially if you're going to be creating prompts to use in other AI, because ChatGPT is a good starting place, because it's going to formulate the language that you're going to use to talk to the other AI programs, if that makes sense. So you'll be able to plug whatever your prompt or whatever your thought process is into ChatGPT. It'll kick you out what you need to then plug into what this, and I can't remember the exact name of the AI, but TikTok is a good resource for looking for some of these AI programs that are out here, or AI apps, should you say. You can definitely scroll through TikTok and type in specifically what you are looking for. That is AI, which are the renderings for the drawings. And it should kick you out some, you should see either people using it or kick you out some names of that. But I know Tona has something to add to that.
Yeah, so ChatGPT has a lot of plugins now. I just recently came across one the other day where you can pretty much type in what you would like to see for video. It's like type to text to video. So you type in, hey, I want a video showing, women having a business meeting to promote, your expo and, whatever else you want to prompt it to do. And it will spit out a video for you with script, text, everything that you need. So there are a lot of plugins with ChatGPT, but definitely start with that. Check out their plugins to connect to it, to be able to use to do other things to help you streamline your business process.
I'll just add, and I apologize, my Wi-Fi is struggling, so it's cutting off my video. I'm sure it'll kick back in a second. Your content, ChatGPT marries very well with Canva, where you can introduce 30 days of content, 45 days of content, a year's worth of content, up next to whatever images you want to add. To my ChatGPT fan, I just did an AI tool for professional headshots, where you take the most clearest picture and it's generating headshots. That app is phenomenal. I just played with it yesterday, and That's going to save one of my clients that absolutely needs a professional photo shoot, like ASAP. She doesn't have time or the money before this big event. So we knocked out a bunch of pictures using this one tool, and I will drop the name of it in the chat as soon as I can. But it
And
was
also also if you are a YouTuber, there are AI tools and apps for that now where you again text to video, you can text it, it'll spit out a video for you as well as script to use for your YouTube. And it also has one for clips. So you can take that long form YouTube content, pop it into this AI tool, and then it will break down for you in small clips with headings across of it, or headings with it. So it does everything. These AI tools, again, definitely, if you aren't using them, get on it, because it is game changer for not only business, but work too. A lot of people can use this for your everyday work. You know, you have those letters that your projects and presentations that your boss wants you to do. There are AI tools that will definitely help you with that, where all you have to do is tell it what it is that you needed to do, and it will spit it out for you.
Awesome. So we have 3 more questions that I want to ask. And if we have time, we'll get some people, if they have more questions, definitely ask those. So the next question is from Gong, and it is, what were some experience with financial struggles and how did you overcome that obstacle? And has anyone have any experience with venture funding?
I personally took the grant route. It is so many business grants for Black women out here that it is ridiculous. Grants got me a commercial on Verizon and Xfinity Network for 90 days that ran. Grants got me to be able to pay my interns and a lot of my tools and some of my education as well. I didn't work with a grant writer. I just did some searches. They're all on TikTok. They're everywhere. You just apply for everything. Make the time. If you're online, just enjoying social media, that time could be well spent looking at some of this money that's available to us to boost our business. It's out there. A lot of it's out there, actually.
Piggybacking on what Melissa said, there are a lot of funding that is available, whether it's through QuickBooks, PayPal, some of these things that you use on a daily basis actually have capital or funding built into them that you can look into. I actually, in the very first, like I said, because I quit my corporate job with no plan, a lot of my start off and a lot of my funding was 2-part. One was using some of my savings, but to actually start my apparel brand, a lot of my funding came from my first sales. I literally just got on the computer, did some mock-ups of some shirts and some things that I wanted to do, took some pre-orders. And from those pre-orders, I was able to buy the equipment that I needed to start my first run of shirts. And then most of it I created myself. I created my own screens. I learned how to screen print myself from watching YouTube. I went to Michael's and took the canvas off of your regular painting canvases, bought screen material from Amazon, stapled it on there, learned the process for melding my images into it, borrowed some equipment from here, from there, everywhere. And I literally, from the trenches, started my apparel brand from teach self-taught, and then on to then later being able to purchase my equipment. And now I have a self operating heat press and some more. So definitely use all of the resources that you have available to you. You never know. The smallest resource could be your biggest victory.
For me, I've only ever used money from Shopify when I had my online boutique, and it was amazing. There wasn't a high interest rate, if any at all, if I can recall. And then they just recoup the money from your sales as time go on. So Shopify has definitely been a great help to me and my business. That's the only one I've ever used before.
I did leave one thing off: affiliate marketing. You literally could be making money in your sleep. If someone asks you, where did you buy that from? And you got it on Amazon, If you create a very free link from Amazon and share that, you get paid, you get some money off of that. If you are using QuickBooks for anything and your client or a colleague needs to do something with their money, you can scroll to the bottom of most websites and see where it says affiliates. You click on that, it takes 2 minutes tops to become an affiliate and get your own link to give to somebody else. When I go look at that account, it goes to a Square account. At any point in time, I can go in and see $600-700 just sitting there, just from the affiliate links that I share. Even if you're not in business yet, whatever someone's asking you your advice on, and you're giving it, see if there's a way that you can get paid off of just giving them the affiliate link of whatever resource that you're using.
Piggybacking off of Melissa, you can use ChatGPT to build yourself a blog. Use those affiliate links on that website for that blog, and you're good to go. Because that blog is going to get you generating those eyes on there, and those affiliate links are going to get clicked, and then you're set up. Just as simple as that.
And it's full circle, because any post that you make, you can drop that affiliate link on. You've seen it on YouTube where it's showing you, this is what I bought, this is where I bought it from.
I love it. There's so much good stuff. Yeah.
Okay, and let me see. So another question is, how do you recognize when you need to pivot in your business to combat burnout? She has, I'm sorry, and this is Nadia, I believe, and she has a small catering business, but she says she finds that sometimes she gets exhausted from running it. So what are some of the things you all are doing to combat burnout?
Not to be funny, the fact that you are even asking the question, you've recognized that you are in either the beginning stages or you are in the burnout. So it goes back to, what everyone has been talking about, knowing yourself. You have to recognize when self-care is needed, and then the steps that you can do within your business to kind of ease some of that for you. If you are, like you said, catering business, I've had a client who is a caterer, and I know definitely how quickly and how extensive it can be, moving and doing a lot. So it goes back to the automation, your intake forms. Do you have staff? What things can you take off of your plate and put onto someone else's plate to help support you?
Yes.
And the other thing is, sometimes it's okay to take a breather, take a break. A few weeks ago, like 3 weeks ago, I was just exhausted, right? I was just mentally I was just tired. There was just so much going on. And I told my sister, I'm tired. I need to take a break, So I did. So you're not stopping, you're just taking a break. You have to take those breaks for yourself, because if you aren't in good health, then how are you going to properly run your business? You know what I mean? So if you need to take some time off, take that break and have your systems in place, then please do that. Definitely do that. And just take some time, because for me, when I was, a few years ago, I just was in grind mode, and, social media teaches us that, right? It's all about the grind and grind mode. And it's very detrimental to your health. It's very and then you'll see some of those girlies, they're like, with an IV in their arm, or laid up in the hospital because, they grinded themselves to death, right? So be sure to take that time for yourself, because if you don't, your body going to do it for you. Okay. Get those processes in place, set up those business processes, and take some time that you need for yourself in order to come back stronger.
I'm going to piggyback on Ms. Boyd, because it is super important to take a step back. Being selfish allows you to be selfless. You cannot give from an empty tank. And trust me, I have had to retire my Superwoman cape so many times. It's ridiculous. What I can say is, having a few catering clients before, look at how much you're charging. If you're burning out, you're either overbooking, and you're definitely not outsourcing where you can. You might be able to take less clients in a month because you raised your prices a little bit. The variation, especially in catering, the catering world, you can go from $25 a person. I don't think anybody should be catering for less than that, $25 per person, all the way up to $60 per person. You have a wide range. So instead of taking 10 jobs a month, you might be able to take 5 and make the same money. Talk to your peers, get with somebody, have a creative consultation with anybody that recognizes where you are, and see where you can trim the fat and add some more fat in some other places. You could
Yes.
probably change your pricing and do less clients.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I know some hairstylists, they had started doing that, they started having like these VIP clients, and because they were burnt out, they didn't want to be behind a chair for 24 hours a day, and so they created these VIP services in order to take less clients, but still make the same amount of money that they would have if they had those additional clients. So that's definitely a good one, Melissa.
I could only add, if you are a caterer, find other like-minded caterers, and if they're fair and equitable, they'll pay you something off the top for recommending them for a job you can't do.
Mhm.
So you're not necessarily losing out. You might be getting a little less, but that's money in your pocket. So
Sure.
build you a community.
Okay, so the last question I'm going to ask is, what is a thing that keeps you ladies going with all of the obstacles as an entrepreneur and all of the people in the world and imposter syndrome and all these things? Like, what keeps you going in like running your business?
My main thing is greatness. I say it all the time. It's my famous phrase. It's the phrase that saved my life, and it's what I live by every day. We all have the power to create the greatness we want for our lives. You just got to get out there and do it. No one can do for you what you can do for yourself. Every day it's a conscious effort to wake up every day and choose, I'm going to be the best version of myself. You can change the trajectory of your day just knowing that you have the power to do that. A lot of times mentally, we don't know the power that we have within us because we've been taught to depend on other people or to look for other people for guidance. And I always say it doesn't matter what religion or what background or what culture you come from. You can have all of the knowledge in the world, but if you don't take action, then put to use what you've been taught or what you've learned, then it's all for nothing.
And I would come in and say, mine is a little different. I'm not a good employee. I'm not a good employee.
That's real.
So for me, it's about being my own boss and having the freedom to come and go and do as I please. So that's what motivates me. Even when I do have to take one a 9 to 5, I know that this is not permanent. This is just a temporary situation until, things change in my business. But for me, I'm just not a good employee. I wasn't meant to be an employee. So I'm going to say that. So that's what keeps me going.
For me, I love to see people shine. I just do. I truly believe that we have to honor our gifts. They were given to us for a reason. I believe we all have assignments out here. And if mine is just to let the next person shine, to spark something else in somebody else, that's what I want to do. I just enjoy it. Plus, I'm probably not a great employee either. I can do it for a couple of years. I do well in corporate environment, but I'm always told, "What else you're doing something else too, aren't you?" Like, yes, I am. I'm a busybody as well. So there's that.
I love helping people. My passion has always been to help people achieve their highest possibility. And I first started working at 9 years old, and like I put that on my resume at 9 years old. But that's like, I love it. I used to be a teacher for 10 years, but like this work that I'm doing, like I say it jokingly, like, I know I'm going to heaven, but I I love seeing people succeed on things that they didn't think they could have happen. And I love seeing and like being a part of that process. So it's my passion that keeps me motivated to continue.
I guess I'm last. So I think for me, what keeps me motivated is my two daughters. I have these little small human beings looking up to me, and they're going to one day grow into women. And so for me, I just try to be an example to them. And I think in my pursuit of being an example to them, I end up becoming an example to everyone else as well. And I think also, someone mentioned their employees. I have a great team. I did not actually know any of the people I worked with before I hired them, but they've literally become family, and that's just the type of work environment that we create. We aren't just colleagues; we're also friends. And so for me, seeing them have their own individual milestones, hearing about the various things that they can do, like my assistant just bought an Audi. I was like, okay, sis.
Yeah.
But it's really amazing to know that like the source of her ability to do these various things and all of my staff's abilities to do these various trips. Like one of my attorneys just came back from like Bulgaria, I think it was. So the fact that like, I have people who work with me and work for my company that can just have these amazing life experiences that can support their family and their children as well. And to know that I'm the source is really inspiring for my own self, quite frankly. And, the reality is like, yes, they could go work for another law firm, but it's like, you want them to continue working for your law firm. So you're continued every day to get up and be motivated to show up as your best self, whether you're sleeping well or not, but to show up as best as possible to make sure that the livelihoods that they're achieving, the life experiences that they're claiming, that they continue to have that. And that the source of that is you. Now, I'm also trying to figure out how to diversify some of this business generation. So it's not just me. But, I think it's also important, again, like we talked a lot about, is to have the structure so that you do have these things in place. So when you do start diversifying that, there's structure in place to be able to handle that. So those are the things that kind of keep me going, keep me motivated when I'm up in the middle of the night, with my 9-month-old, and I just kiss her. I'm just like, you're just so cute. Like, and then, you got to wake up in 2 hours to get your 5-year-old ready for school. But it's like and then also just the little things throughout the day that just make you grateful. I work at home a lot. And so my 9-month-old is at home with the nanny. And so we have like the basement is turned into like a play area, whatever. So I do what's called baby breaks. So like, let's say I had a very stressful conversation, or I was on Zoom court, which is actually a great byproduct of COVID, by the way. I can be in my living room on Zoom, holding the torch for justice. And then I can go downstairs and have a baby break when opposing counsel pissed me off. So I have these little baby breaks, and I get to hug her and kiss her. Some people have, pet breaks, right? So if you have a pet animal, you can go and you can snuggle if you're in a position where you can work from home. So think about the small things throughout your day that help keep you going and help keep you motivated, because sometimes it's not all the big things, right? It can be, but sometimes it really is just the very small things throughout the day that keep you going. I try to work out, during the week still. I'm still trying to figure out my schedule. So I know we were talking earlier about the things you do for you, and working out and strength training is something that helps keep me going. And so I think that's all I'll share. It's a pleasure being here and talking with you all this morning.
Yes.
So I am thankful for all of you. So excited. We have a few minutes left, and so I just want to do a little something, right? And Terry, I asked you, but you didn't respond yet. Please don't get mad at me. Okay.
Do your thing, Jada.
So first, thank you to our panelists, and thank you to everybody who's attended for these last 2 hours. I hope that you've learned a lot and gained some very, very insightful information. I'm asking everybody to drop their emails in the chat, and we are going to be sending out a survey very soon. And we're going to do a giveaway to the first 5 people who complete that survey. You will receive something in the mail. So make sure that you drop your email in the chat now so that you can maybe be a winner. And let's see. Also, since we still have just a few minutes left, One thing I didn't do in the beginning was ask where everybody was tuning in from, and also maybe where you're from. I know Deanna is a DC native. We've heard it all day, but I would love to hear where other people are from.
Can we put that in the chat, Jada?
Yes, please drop that in the chat.
Wrap your state or your area in the
Yes,
chat.
yes.
Yes, and thank you, Jada, for those ideas. I'm sorry I didn't see them, but
It's
great
okay.
ideas.
It's
Great
okay.
ideas. I just want to do a few closing remarks, and then I'll let the co-chair Pastel Birch Smith do that as well. First, I want to say thank you to all the panelists. Dynamic. You all were great. You were energized. You were engaging. You were informative, and such great information. So thank you so much. Thank you for people who attended. I hope you gained something from this information. I learned a lot. I'm also a business owner, but I've learned so much, and I'm definitely going to get that, what do you call it? Chat GPT working, because that's
Yes, honey.
like what everybody needs in their life, in their business. Key things for me: be authentic, use your social media, leverage technology, and partner. Dawn and Tana Michelle, did I pronounce
Tona.
that? Tona Michelle, they're partners. Partner. A lot of Black women don't do enough of that. Partner. We're not superwomen. We can't do it all. Sometimes you need a partner. So I think all of the panelists put their information in the chat so you can reach out to them. Please use all of these dynamic women for your business and for your personal life. Reach out to them. These are women who have it going on, and I'm definitely going to be reaching out to them. And I just want to thank all of the members of the Financial Fortitude Committee for pulling this off. I want to thank WDCAC, which is our Washington, D.C. alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, and anybody from our chapter that is on this meeting. And just thank Delta Sigma Theta organization for allowing us to put these types of events, whether virtual or in person, on. I'll turn it over to my co-chair, Pastel Birch Smith, to close us out.
I think you said almost everything, Terry.
Okay.
But thank you guys for showing up. Thank you all for sharing. Remember, you have one life. For a lot of people knowing here, we recently lost a line sister. So if you have a dream, please get to it. Stop waiting. Stop waiting. Get to it. Do it. Be it. All of that. So thank you. We hope this can happen again next year on a bigger scale. We want to make it even bigger. So if you know anyone who would be interested, please reach out to the Financial Fortitude Committee. And we thank you for your time, your grace, and all of the information you bestowed upon this this wonderful, wonderful workshop. So maybe we can be in person next time. I'm gonna dream big.
For sure.
Yes, so get some sleep, Deanna. Get some rest, everybody. You have one life.
Thank you.
So thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth.
Bye.
Great
Okay.
job, y'all.
I put
Great
people
job.
in the waiting room who
Yeah.
Good
okay.
job.
I thought that's what you were doing.
I
Bob.
was
Thank you,
kicking folks
Bob.
out left and
Yeah.
right. Get out.
Yeah. Great job,
Get
ladies.
over.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome,
Jada,
this was
you did a
great.
great job moderating. Thank
I
you
had
so
all my
much.
notes, y'all. Look.
This was so good.
It was,
Yeah,
it really
good,
was.
yeah,
It turned
yeah.
out a lot better, I will be honest, than I
Mhm.
thought. We had a great, we had a great
Mhm.
turnout. We had
Mhm.
At the height, I think
34.
there were 34 people
Mhm.
participating. If you subtract the 10 of us,
Yep.
that was 24 people. So, you know, that's great turnout, and maybe next year we can do this in person.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like doing it in person. I also like doing it virtual because then we can get panelists from everywhere. But this
This
year
is
ended
true.
up being
Yeah,
all the
this is
panelists
true.
were from here anyway,
Yeah,
so it worked.
yeah. But
Yeah,
great
Alright, then.
job.
Awesome. It was great. I'm gonna get some
Next year we
food.
can do, yeah, next year we can start earlier, so that'll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
That's what it
y'all.
is.
All right. Have a
All right,
great
ladies.
weekend.
Love
See
y'all.
you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.